so hard about saying thank you? Just those words that people don't want to express. When we look at this lesson, it just says expression thanks. And I can understand it. To get some people to say thank you, we say we got to almost try to move a mountain just to say thank you. But I'm in the habit of my wife giving me a glass of water, I would say thank you. We didn't got the habit of each other doing that. So it just come off with us, and the children come off the same thing. When you say thank you, you don't have to do nothing. People don't do anything for you. So why can't you just say thank you? And that's what this lesson is all about today. We see that what went on in this lesson about some thank you that some people don't do. They kind of just like us. We don't like to say thank you for nothing. But what I realize is that God don't need us. We need Him. And when I thought about that, I went all the way back to Moses. Look what happened. When Moses went up to pray and he came back, they had built him a calf, so he slew 3,000 people. Do God need them? No, He didn't need them. So I said, okay, let me come a little closer. And I thought about that old wicked city of Solomon and Gomorrah. What happened there? They were so wicked that God destroyed them. So what did that tell me? God don't need us. I said, okay, that's real good. And we got the wrong concept to think that God needs us. But God don't need us. We need Him. And as I continue to think about it, I went back one more time in the flood. Look what happened. He destroyed the whole earth. So what that tell me? God don't need us. We need Him. And then I kind of brought it today when I went to Matthew. Matthew 3:9 say, God can take stones and raise up and make a nation. So if He can take a stone and make a nation, what did that tell me? He don't need me. I need Him. When we realize that we got to have Him, everything will change in our life. And that's something that we don't realize now. And it's nothing that we take things for granted. Every day we ought to get up and say, what? Thank you. Because He didn't have to do it. Somebody got up this morning, not even in their right mind. Did you know that? Somebody got up this morning, not even able to walk. But here we are, and all we got to do is say what? Thank you. What's so hard about saying thank you? Because this is a man that holds your life, my life in His hands. And all He wants us to do is just say thank you. Expressing that thank you. This lesson is go right back to saying the same thing. What happened there? They didn't want to say thank you. So then as I began to look at this lesson here and see that we come from two books. The books of Leviticus and the book of Luke. So I began to think, I do some thinking sometimes. And the first thing I saw that each one of those books come from the third book. First, when I looked at Leviticus in the Old Testament, you look at Genesis, Exodus, and what that third book? Leviticus. So then I jumped into the New Testament. And what did I look at? I looked at Matthew, Mark, and Luke. So what we got? 3 books. I like that. I love numbers, folks. Somehow numbers just fascinate me. Maybe because I taught math for a while, but I just love numbers. And when I see numbers, they do something to me. And I looked at those numbers right there. And then I saw another number that jumped out of me. It says our subject. When you look at the subtopic, you got 3. What is it? 3 words where it says a crime. Here we go. We deal with numbers again. Our crime, that's 3 numbers. Look at the 3 we be dealing with already. And then as we get into this lesson today, when I thought this lesson good, I tell my wife, each time I read and study, it looks like each lesson is a little better. I don't know why I thought I'm at the peak of it, but there's some more. And when we look at this lesson, why I say expression thank you, the first thing we come up with is a cry of unclean breathing. Isn't that something? Unclean. Think about that, unclean breathing and a cry. So as we look at this lesson and get into it, what is this lesson all about? Well, what we see is a group of people who had a bad disease. They call them unclean. Imagine that. Those people was called unclean. And this disease was so bad that it would just destroy your whole body. Start from the outside and go all the way in. This was called leprosy. So as you read about this leprosy and think about what happened and what they said back there, well, if a person had leprosy, he must be cursed from God. He must be sin. So sin and curse. I see Deacon shaking his head already. But that's what they said. Remember, they said this person was cursed because he had this disease. So this person was so cursed that he could not be with us. They had to take this person and put him out somewhere by himself because they don't want to catch disease. He that leprosy was some kind of serious that they said, all because of sin, they said. Remember what I'm saying? They said. So you can be around nobody, you can even be around your family. When you find leprosy, you got to go. So as we begin this first thing this morning about an unclean Greek, let's see what we got. 45 and 46. Gentlemen, come back.
And the leper woman, in whom the plague is, his clothes shall be rent, and his head bare, and he shall put a covering upon his upper lip, and shall cry, unclean, unclean.
46.
All the days wherein the plague shall be in him, he shall be defiled, he is unclean, he shall dwell alone, without the camp shall his habitation be.
Isn't that something? If this person had been plagued with leprosy, he got to be by himself. And you know what stung me? You walk down the street, he got to holler, I got leprosy. He got to let everybody know he is unclean. How would you feel like that? That you think that you go somewhere and everybody know that you are unclean. Think about what's going on. They can say you'll feel bad. But the thing what I like about just him, when you get to that man, he had all this, they tell you what he had to do, how to cover his head and everything, and had to let people know that I am unclean. So what brought my attention was Leviticus 13 and 14. Moses told him how to clean himself. How could a person clean himself with leprosy? This is what Moses said. You got to look through all these procedures to do that. And once you get leprosy, the first thing you do, you have to come to the priest. The priest had to examine you and see what you had any sores on the outside. Now, if the sores was on the inside, he said you had leprosy. The priest. What happened next is that once you get leprosy, you have to go somewhere and stay for 7 days. Because you got this disease. Be by yourself for 7 days. And here we go again. After 7 days over, you had to come back to the priest. And the priest had to examine you again and see, was it leprosy or was it just some sores? So if you had that, he had to send you back again. Listen what the priest said. Now this is what Moses said that God told him to do with leprosy. And what I found out strange about that, only one person in the Old Testament that got cured with leprosy. You got the prescription. What happened there if only one person got cured with leprosy? Well, that one person was Naaman. How did Naaman get cured? Naaman got cured through God. Not only through God, but God used somebody to get to Naaman. Who did he use? He used a slave girl. You got the story there. Now the slave girl, but she was Naaman's wife, slave. So what it did, she told him to tell my master, if he want to be cured, to go see a prophet. And this prophet can cure him. So what they tell me, this slave girl, she was a foreigner. She had faith that God will work through Elijah with the man to heal her master. Now, what I like about the story and read about that, the story was that only one person got cured. So Naaman was a big time person. He was a big soldier. He'd done everything. And I feel like Naaman was kind of like the lady with the blood, issue of blood. You know, he went probably everywhere because he's a big man and trying to find a cure. But the thing about Naaman, they didn't kick him out. He was a big German army, so they let him stay there. But what happened here, after the slave girl told her master what to do, Naaman, he loaded, got his chariot, went on down by Elijah was. What's that? Didn't change word. He got on by Elijah was. But here's the catch-up. When he got to Elijah, this is a big-time man, drove up his chariot, sent somebody in, and what did Elijah do? Elijah looked out there and said, tell him to go down to Jordan, dip himself 7 times. What? Wait a minute. Here I am, a big-time man, and this man gonna tell somebody to tell me? He didn't even come out and tell it. You tell him what to do. So you know Naaman is getting mad now. I'm a big-time man, this man gonna do that. So what did he do? He got mad. He went back. After he went back, not only that, he told the slave girl, she said, you do what he told you to do. So what happened? Naaman went back and did what he told him to happen. And what happened to Naaman? Naaman was healed. The honest man that's in the Old Testament got healed from leprosy. What that tell me? Don't listen to what they said. You need to listen to him. And I said, I had to get on that. They'll tell you, don't come to church this morning because of the 4th of July. But him tell you, come on to church. They'll tell you, well, don't pray this morning. But him will tell you, pray for your blessing. You know, I like that word about what they'll tell you. They'll tell you, you got a disease that you're not going to get you. But what would him tell you? Him tell you, just have faith, believe, and what? Trust in me. Everything would be all right. And I got to look closer, and I kept looking at all this thing about that unclean, what happened. Look what happened there. They said he couldn't do it, but look what happened. God sent a person, and he got clean. The honest man got clean. Then one more thing come to my attention that, you know, they said Union Grove wasn't going to be built. But what did him say? Him said, why we said that now? In Union Grove. So who do we need? Do we need to follow they, or we need to follow who? Him. When I need my help, who I need to follow? They, or do I need to follow him? I need to follow him because all of my help comes from him. And him was above. You know, I just couldn't have all this stuff up when I read about Naaman and all this him. When they said that's the only person, and then as I continued to read about this him, we got into the story him about how he was unclean, and I thought about us. Do you remember? We've been unclean. Why have we been unclean? Nobody want to be with us. Oh, folks, because of this right here. What is this here? This color skin. Don't you see how they distant from us? They don't like being with us. So we said that. But one good thing I got about it, and I thought about it, when a person gets sick, and when they go to the hospital, who's in the hospital? All of us in the hospital. Don't they put us together then? But now what? They don't want to be around you. But when you get sick, you're in the hospital. Last year, that pandemic, they had everybody being sick. The one that gets sick, you take this bed, that take that bed right beside. So what is it? Now they don't mind being with us because they're all in the same boat. Today, this lesson, we're going to see some of these people in the same boat, but they hate this person. Isn't that something? I can hate you till I really need you. I can hate you till I get in the same condition that you are, then it's no different. We see this lesson today. What happened? They didn't like this man, but this man was right with him because he had the same thing that they hated. If you got the same condition, it doesn't matter. You know, as I begin to look at it, when they get blood from us, does it say black, white, blue, blood? What does it say? Red blood. Either A, B, A negative, it's all the same though. They don't mind doing that, but yet they can't stand to be with us. That's kind of funny. But this is what this is about. How we are an outcast to society, but yet at time when they need us, they only need us when they need us. Other than that, they don't need us. This lesson right here is saying the same thing there. That unclean, how we are so unclean to a certain time, then all that, it doesn't matter at that time. So this man, he had to go out somewhere and stay all by himself. No family, nobody. And the worst thing he said, he couldn't even serve God. Why he couldn't serve God? Because they wouldn't allow him to get to the temple to serve God. He had to go out there all by himself and be an outcast. He could not see his family anymore. Did he? But number one thing, he didn't know he didn't have to be with him. He could have served God at that last time. He could serve God by himself. But they say he couldn't serve God because he couldn't get to the temple to serve God. Deacon said he didn't have to be in the temple to serve God. You can serve God all by yourself. Whatever you are, you can serve God. Remember we said, if you're in the belly of the whale, like Jones, you still can do what? Serve God. Even you come up on a bank like Jones, you still can serve God. If you out in that boat, and that boat is at 12, you still can serve God. Yeah. So that don't have anything to do with serving God. But here, they looked at the whole, I have to go back to they looked at a whole different thing. Say he couldn't serve God. And I said, oh, look at here, what they said. This is their opinion. And then, that's a question for you. Since you all don't have a question, do you? Well, here's a question. That question says, what are the pros and cons of labeling people and isolating them as outcasts? Name some groups who have received such treatment. How can a church minister to them? Isn't that something? What are the pros and cons of labeling people What is wrong with that? Labor a person. You can't labor a person, it's wrong. When we are all the same, we are no different, but we do labor people. Why do we labor people? I am more than that person. You got a little money, you labor, because you separate that money from the poor folks, you been labor. Then you look at our skin color, we are labor. And that's the thing about labor, folks. When you labor a person, you already saying that person is not going to be nothing. I bet sometime in all our life, somebody have labored us. I know him, I know his family, I know her, I know his family. Oh, they not going to be nothing. Because of who? Daddy wasn't nothing. Mama wasn't nothing. Granddaddy wasn't nothing. Grandmother wasn't nothing. So what that tell you? You ain't going to be nothing. So you already late before you get in. But Deacon said it's wrong. So you should labor a person. But you know, it's not what we do. What we do all the time. We labor somebody.
Yeah.
If I'm not who I think I am, it's because of me. Because if God gives it to me, I can get out there and get it. But if I let somebody put a label on me, what am I going to do? Nothing. Because I'm already late. When I have to get, when I was in the classroom, you know, I go back to days in my classroom, I was teaching, especially in my room, everybody knew if you come to Mr. Butler, you already was a special. So what I did, I took the label off my door. I don't want to label. My kids are just like everybody else's kids.
All right.
Don't label my kids. And that stopped the label right there. I probably guess what the grain say, don't do it, it didn't matter to me. Because I know those kids need the same thing everybody else do.
Yeah.
So why would I label those kids? And you know, removing that label off my door, it made a difference.
Yeah.
The kids felt better about themselves
Yeah, they did.
because they wasn't labeled. They knew what I taught, but they didn't care about that because I taught them just like everybody else did. And I love that by taking a label off somebody. Don't put a label on me. Don't rubber stamp me if I get it.
No.
That's what happened here. They were rubber stamp. Come on, D.
When she talked to everybody to the crowd, school, she had in trouble. Beginning start in school, shooting everything.
Because of doing something you have to do. What gets me is that why would you let, I like the percentage part of it, let a little percentage change everything? Taking prayer out of school. He said when you took prayer out of school, you took everything out of school. You even took God out of school on the same. But we know God was there. But what they do, they remove him out of school. Why would you take prayer out of school?
Yes, Lord.
Prayer, what school was built on. You know, the old church houses, what did they have schools at? And thank you. People, you know, old folks, we got some young folks in with them, but the old folks know that we told that they have school in the church. And the first thing they had to do was pray because they know that we need to put God first.
Yeah.
So that's what we have to do. But what we do, we let just a few small segments that take the whole out.
Lord.
Tracy?
One thing about COVID-19, I showed the whole world that he had no respect for person, black, white, whatever your it was. It didn't matter. It didn't matter whether you were Christian, poor, black, white, whatever your issue was. It's the same thing. You went into your quarantine and all the rules apply to everybody. It did not matter or where. Same thing. But people start realizing that they need God to make it.
That's right.
And someone probably talked to us that hadn't had a chance to talk to us in a long time. Because when you start looking at your family members and you just start going bad and things start going south, and you're afraid because you don't know what's going on, you call on Jesus.
Call on Jesus. Not only when you call on Jesus, you try to find Jesus. But he's already there, but you're going to find Jesus in.
Yeah.
What happened? As soon as you open up the church door, who's going to come? They're going to find him because they know what happened there.
Yeah.
It took that to get some of us to get back to where we need to be.
Yeah.
You know, we have forgot about how God took care of us. All them years.
Yes,
We
Lord.
forgot about how God took care of us when they had to ride with that horse and buggy to church.
Yeah.
We forgot about that. But now, God said, okay, I'm going to bring you back. Let me bring your memory back to where you were, where your peoples were. It takes that to come back to them. That's why I tell folks, that pandemic was for God to let us know, wait a minute, I'm going to have to bring you down because you getting just too high. You try to get up there with me, so what I do, I send something to bring you down.
Well, we used to walk to church,
Mhm.
and if it rained, we walk to church bare feet.
Mhm.
When we get to church, we wash our feet off.
You see what happened back there when they was walking to church. They was walking for a reason. What was the reason? They was walking because they know God allowed them to
Yeah.
walk to church.
Yeah.
They knew God gave them the strength to walk to church. But you notice now, only a few people walk out. But when do people get ready to walk? When they tell them, you need to get out and get some exercise. What they do then, you say, I'm walking around the track. You don't have to tell me that. I already know that. But back then, people walked all the time. I said, well, she got something. Talk with them.
Yeah, because back then, when people were walking to church, people come out in high and feel it with them, but all the way to church, they always were singing. They were saying those good songs and stuff. Make you feel like going to church is on that good thing. They always do, but now they ride that car, they don't say anything.
And more you go.
You see how back there they was lifting and praising God.
They right.
They had a reason. We said they worked from sun up to sundown,
Come down,
but nothing sometimes. Picking cotton, chopping cotton, but nothing. $2 a pound, or 50 cents a pound, whatever it was. They had a reason to praise God.
Yeah.
Because they wanted us to do better.
Uh-huh.
But what do? We don't have that reason.
Lord
We
have
just take it for granted. Well, I know I get in my car and go. Well, I know God can do this for me. Do you know that? You don't know that. Because again, God don't need us. We need him. When you get to thinking about that there, then I'll bring some tears to y'all to think about where you've been and where you're going. I see a hand here, talk to us.
I have talked to some people, they real educated and stuff like that. I said, y'all, thank God. They said, well, I did it myself. And I'm like, you really think you did it yourself? They think they did it themselves.
That's what bothers me. When I get a little degree under my belt, I forget about who allowed me to get that degree. You know, when I get $1 more in deacon allowance, I forget about who allowed me to get that dollar.
Yeah.
You know, that's how we get the big head so fast. And what if we have nothing? We came from dirt. We're going back
Back
to
to
dirt.
dirt. Sure
We
is.
brought nothing into this world,
Ain't gonna carry
and we're
nothing
not
out.
going to carry nothing out of this world. So why should I get the big head?
Yeah.
Because I got $1 and I got a car to take me from
Lord
A
have
to B,
mercy.
and you walk.
All right.
Why should I get the big? I see a hand on this. I must be hitting some point. Come on, Dick. Talk to me.
But I have the Bible from black one.
Mm-hmm.
And when you cut my yellow, I said, I don't have no respect for the different people. I said, I don't say anything.
Uh-huh.
I don't have no different color. I said, God give it to me, and I do it anytime. Amen.
That's what it's all about. You got to do what God tells you to do. You know, I noticed before I getting this out, I see the funeral home now. Even married, he takes on black. Well, that's something. If we go back way back then, I'm not gonna put you in there with my folks. Why? I'm black. But look what happened now. You're taking it back. What is it about now? It's about the dollar.
Sure
It's about
is.
the dollar. That dollar doesn't have no color to it.
Yeah.
So it's about the dollar. That's what's about up there.
But they got a big, rap about it.
Mm-hmm.
The film home man up there now, women,
Uh-huh.
the white man had that, they really, he started, he don't, he's not going to, white, black, he knows, he said, I get anybody I want to put in.
See what we're talking about? Still the same. And what they said, this is Independence Day. Where is your independence? Nowhere. We just like we were, we just a little higher, but they still, everything's still the same. I don't get on the black, white issue, but we know it's the same. So all we gotta do is serve this same God that
Yeah.
she was talking about, that she was talking about,
Yeah.
Deacon Lamb was talking about.
Yeah.
That's what we serve. We don't serve man.
That's
We
it.
serve God. And here's the second topic. I like that, folks. The second topic says, I cry for unexplained grief. Grace. Wait a minute. Unexplained grace. What are you talking about? I cry for that. What is he crying about? Something happened to this man. He couldn't explain it. You know, and part of our life, there's things happen to us we can't explain. Even I told you about when that storm came and turned that tree around in our yard. I can explain that. The tree's supposed to fell one way. I went out there and looked, and the tree fell totally different from what it's supposed to. I can't explain it. But then I need to remember that's some unexplained grace. High grace God. How that grace of God took him.
Yeah.
And not only grace of God, we're going to see something else later on. There's another word that I always follow grace. And we know what that word is. Deacon said, jump to him. That word is mercy. But let's see, sister. Come on, give us some reading here.
And it came to pass as he went to Jerusalem that he passed through the midst of Samaria and Galilee.
Now, one minute. Now, this is what got me. Jesus. He went to Jerusalem, but he had to go through Samaria and Galilee to get where he was going. Now, he didn't have to, but he did. So what happened there? The Jews hated the Samaritans, so they didn't even want to be close to them. So they would go way out of their way just to get to Jerusalem. And you know what brought to my attention? What brought to my attention that people would come from Lyme and take the bypass and go all the way around just to get to Alligator. And all you got to do is just go straight through Clarks and go to what? Alligator. Isn't that something? Think about what you're saying and what I'm saying. Those people, when they would walk, they walked all the way around Samaria because they didn't want to be with them just to get to Jerusalem. Now, is that a clear picture? Think about how people do. Go straight through there, go straight through it, but they went all the way around. Because of who? Because of the Samaritan. They didn't have no problem with them. Now, who was the Samaritan? Samaritan was them, but what happened? They had married. You know, when you marry somebody else, they call them that's an outcast. They didn't want to deal with them because Samaritan, they had married somebody, everybody got in there. There's the Gentiles and Jews all mixed up together. They didn't like it. They said, you're an outcast. Well, we don't be around you, so we're going to go all the way around you. But look what Jesus did. Jesus said, that's where I want to go. I want to go where nobody else want to go. He said he want to go where? Straight through there. And think about it, who Jesus had with him. He had his 12 disciples. Who was his disciples? They was the Jews. Wait a minute, Jesus. You mean to tell me, you going to take us to a place that we shouldn't go? Yes, I am. Why? Here we go. What it tell us? The next one.
And as he entered into a certain village, there met him 10 men that were lepers, which stood afar off.
Look at that. A certain village. He went there. And there was 10 men that came and met him. Now look what these men were. It said they was what? They were afar off. They couldn't get close to him because they had what? Leprosy. They weren't allowed to get around nobody. So, but what Jesus do? He keeps walking. And those men were afar off. Now here's the part that I really like. What's that next chapter?
And they lifted up their voices and said, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us.
What did we say? First we got a little grace. Now we got mercy. But what's so good about that is that they lift up their voice. What are you talking about? They lift up their voice. They all lift up their voices. The reason they lift up their voices is because when you had leprosy, it would go down in your vocal cords and people can hardly hear you. So what did they say? 1, 2, 3, shout it out. We're going to call who? We're going to call Jesus. Now, you know the thing about it, they know who called him. They knew who to call. They say, if I say it by myself, you may not hear me. But what we're going to do, we're going to do this thing together. So they can say loud so Jesus can hear. But what do? We got voices. We come in church, and what do? We sit right down. The preacher's preaching good, and what do? We sit right down. These people, they know exactly what to do by what they holler who? Jesus. Who can you call when you need it? We said last week, you don't need to call a Ghostbuster. You need to call who? Jesus. So that's who you call. They know who to call. And what I like about it, they didn't only call Jesus, they gave him his title. Yeah. They said Jesus who? Master. You know what a master was? A master was your overseer. So they gave Jesus all his titles. Why did they do that? Because they know if anybody can do it, Jesus can do it. Because remember what happened. The first time out of Jesus' ministry come out was a man with death. And he what? He healed that man. So what I'm thinking, if Jesus could heal that man, Jesus believed that this same Jesus, he can heal us. Yeah. But all we got to do is get his attention. Yeah. You know, sometimes you have to get a person's attention. They feel like they need to get Jesus' attention so he can heal him. In order to do that, we all got to holler out. Then I bet the next one. What the next one tell us about that?
And when he saw them, he said unto them, Go show yourselves unto the priests. And it came to pass that as they went, they were cleansed.
Look what happened here. That's all it takes. As Jesus heard them, he told him, go and show yourself who? To the priest. Remember what we said about the priest. Back then, you had to go to the priest and he declared that you were clean or you was unclean. Here's what Jesus told him. Go and show yourself.
Yeah.
You know, I told you that. They told you, Moses said, you need to go and dip how many times? 7 times. Okay. Then what Elijah told him, you need to go and dip how many times? 7 times again. But right here, what did Jesus tell him to do? Go and show yourself. Did he say dip anytime? He didn't say dip.
No.
He didn't say go to the priest. I said go to the priest and show yourself. What means that you will be healed. I don't need the priest to look at you. Go and show the priest that you're already healed. And that's what they began to do. As they began to journey, what happened? Deacon said they was healed when he told them to go. And I like this. You know, when you get into something like that, that's what happened. Don't go to no pool, don't go anything. All you got to do is take my word and what? Go. So what we do, we got to believe, we got to trust, and we got to have what? Faith in Jesus. That's what happened. I don't need you to go to a pool. I don't need you to go to the priest. I want you to go to the priest. I don't need these lies. Just go to the priest and tell it. And look what happened on the next part. This is what I really like on the next one. Anybody have something here? Wait. Here's a question. The question says, what obstacles keep people from trusting God and taking the appropriate steps of faith? Why do you think some wait until they are utterly death before calling on the Lord for help? Why do you think that? What obstacles come in your way? What's the first thing coming in your way from serving God? From the beginning. And what I thought about, what obstacle come, this morning I had a flat on my car. So what am I going to do? I'm going to stay at home. Well, this morning is the 4th of July. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to barbecue this evening, so I'm just going to stay at home because I can go in next Sunday. That's an obstacle. I got all my relatives down, and I'm going to stay at home today. I know I'm going to be here next Sunday. You know, I know. I see things happen, but I know I'm going to be here next Sunday. So what I'm going to do? I'm going to barbecue today, which I don't know is next Sunday. I don't even know if the next minute going to come soon.
Yes,
but
right.
what do we do? That's one obstacle. Where all my folks around, what you need to do is bring your folks to church. And then do what you have to do.
Yes,
But what we do, we look for that obstacle to stay at home. We need a reason anyhow. And here's the reason God says what? The 4th of July. And everybody having a good time. Come on, dude. Deacon said, you bring your folks to church and go back to barbecue, that food will taste just a little better. Because then you put God in that plate with you, so now that make it a little better. But what we do, we look for that obstacle to get in our way. When I was coming to church, when I was coming to church, and that old person made me mad, I got so mad, I just got to curse, and I just said, Lord, I'll leave the church tomorrow. That's when you need to go. We always looking for something to get in our way so we won't come here and serve God. So that's what that obstacle is. What we got to do is move that out of the way there. We don't need anything like that. That's called when we really need God, when you got those kind of problems. And here's the last part. I kind of like this last part. The last part said, a cry for uncontrollable gratitude. Look at him. A cry for uncontrollable gratitude. What is this person doing? He is so filled up that he just saying, thank you, Lord. He a cry for uncontrollable gratitude. Have you ever been to the point that you know God done something you just had? It just came out over you. You just had to tell somebody and you just couldn't stop doing it. Because God will bless you.
Yeah.
When he bless you like that, sometimes you won't go and tell somebody. Then sometimes it make you feel good that you don't know cry. You just sit in the bathroom and begin to cry. What I cry about is that how I got older.
Yeah.
I think about where I was and how God brought me to where I am now. That makes me want to cry a little bit. Sometimes it makes a little tears in your eyes. Sometimes when a preacher, he says a thing that make you go back and think about, oh, that could have been me. So that makes you want to what? Cry. That's one of the uncontrollable gratitude that you have for God. When you thank God, thank Him in your heart while you was. Thank God how your children doing. Thank God how your parents are. You know, we got a lot of things to thank God for. That's an uncontrollable gratitude. Now, as we get into the next part, I really like this. All right, read.
And one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back and with a loud voice glorified God.
Look at that. Just one. One turned back.
Yeah.
When he saw he was healed
Uh-huh.
and went back. The
Yeah.
others said, well, we too far out now.
They went on.
Well, that's too far to go back. We just gonna go ahead and do what God told us to do. These are what the black people. That probably could be us, but we don't want to add that. That could be us. That could be us. I'm getting there. But they didn't want to think out. They went on. But that one, now think about who this one was. That one was the outcast.
Uh-huh.
That one was the Samaritan.
Right.
The other 9 was the Jews.
Yeah.
These were Jesus' people. He told us, here's one of the things, we take out, we select what we want to do. He told us to go. So that's what we're going to do.
Uh-huh.
We're not going back. But what the Samaritan said,
Uh-huh.
I'm going back.
Yeah.
Why am I going back, Rita?
And fell down on his face at his feet, giving him thanks. And he was a Samaritan.
Look at that. He came back.
Uh-huh.
He fell down on his feet
Yeah.
and gave him thanks. I told you last week, it's good to go down
Yeah.
as long as you know your prayer is going up.
Yeah,
But this
that's
man
it.
here, he went down when he saw Jesus standing up.
Right.
Isn't that something?
Uh-huh.
And he knew, and he thanked Jesus for healing him. The rest of them said they didn't have time to come back. We got to go to the priest. Why do we have to go to the priest? So the priest can tell us that we are already healed. You didn't have to go to the priest. As you read the next one, what did it tell us on that next one?
And Jesus answering said, were there not 10 cleansed, but where are the 9?
Wait a minute. I claim 10.
Uh-huh.
Where are the other 9?
Yeah.
The other 9, Jesus, they follow what you said. They didn't have time, Jesus, to come back and tell you what happened. So you know what came to my attention? When I saw that, that's 9 out of 10, they say it's 90%, a little percent, 90%.
Yeah.
99, 90%. 90%, 9 out of 10% is 90% of the people. That's what I'm saying. 90%. 90% of the people stay at home today. What do we have? 10% of the people who come to church. 90% of the people don't come to Sunday school. 10% of the people come to Sunday school. 90% of the people say they weren't going to get to church. 10% of the people say, yes, it is. You know, what is, that's percentage there. 90%.
Yeah.
90% of the people. So what percent of you? You need to be in that
Yeah.
10%. And I do believe our Sunday school class is in that 10%. While we have the 90% waiting on church, we are the 10% that's getting prepared for another time. Isn't that something? So what percent I want to be in? I want to be in that 10%. Because that 90%,
Yes, Lord.
what the road tell us? The road to destruction is what?
Yeah.
Broad.
Yeah.
So which way do you want to go? That broad way is that 90%? Or do you want to go in that narrow way, which is that 10%? So I'm going in that 10%.
10%.
I don't know about you, but that's the way I'm going. Because that broad way always something. When you see some people with a lot of folk going somewhere, that's probably the wrong way to go. You need to go the other way.
Yeah.
But this is that 90%. That's what it's all up. That 90% of the folks, I like that when I begin to read that the percentage and throw that line, 9 out of 10, it says that's 90% of the folks. Look at that. Wrong. Didn't say it. We don't have that 90%, but we have a set of people say there's no God. Percent of the people. But I'm only in that small percent where I said there is a God. How do you know it's a God? Because He woke me up this morning. I know there's a God.
Yeah.
How do you know there's a God? He clothed me in my right mind.
Yes.
How do you know there's a God? He
Yes.
put food on my table.
Yes.
How do you know there's a God? He allowed me to eat.
Yes.
So I'm gonna follow that
Yes.
small percent. And look what I like about that there. When it said that, the last one, what it tell us?
There are not found they return to give glory to God, save this stranger.
Look at him. They went on. The stranger, which was Samaritan, he went back and thanked the Lord.
Yeah.
They didn't have time because they had to get to the priest. And look what the last one tells us about what happened there. I like this last one.
And he said unto him, arise, go thy way, thy faith hath made thee whole.
Look what happened.
Yeah.
Arise,
Yeah.
go thy way, thy faith
Uh-huh.
have made thee whole.
Yeah.
Right there. The others were heading away. And as they was getting there, they was getting whole right there. But what Jesus said, after this guy went back and told him, rise up. Your faith already made you whole. Then he didn't tell him to go to He told her to rise up. So what I'm telling you, don't go dip in the water. Don't go to the priest. All you got to do is what? Rise up. So this man here, what he got? He got healed and he got his blessing right there.
Yeah.
Who is this? This was a Samaritan. The one that when he was going to serve God, he trusted God.
Yeah.
The one that going to trust God, they went.
They went.
That's right. Because here's one thing, he told me to go. But this man said he told me to go too. But when I saw I was healed, what did I do? I went back and thanked him.
Yeah.
Thank him for what he done. And I was like, I got to do it. Look at this thing here. And I got to the end of this part right here. And I thought about what God did. And when you read Mark 5:34, he used the same word. It says, daughter, faith has made you whole. Luke 8:48, and he said, daughter, be of good comfort. Thy faith have made thee whole. Look what he said. What made him whole? Thy faith have made you whole. So what it take? It take what? Faith. Behold, this man, a Samaritan man, had what? He had faith. And what God said, your faith has made you whole. I kind of like that there. And you know, when God do something for you, you have to tell somebody. So what happened this morning, after God been so good to us, I'm not going to get to that question because we run out of time. But what I did this morning, I went back and I had to wake up somebody. Would you believe that? I woke up somebody that he going to tell us and ask us a question back there. And you wouldn't believe who I woke up. I woke up Luke. Luke, would you come tell us something this morning? Let's see right here. Ow! That's Luke. Get my Luke. Get out, Luke.
Are you among the nine that say there is no God? Or you want to believe that in the beginning God created heaven and earth? Or you the nine that say Jesus is the Son of God? Or you the one that believe that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son? Or you the one that say, are you the nine that say that I hate my neighbor, or the one that loves thy neighbor as thyself? Are you the one, are you the nine that come to church to be silent, or the one that make the joyful noise unto the Lord?
And they don't know.
Or you the among the nine that light was gone out, or the one that say that my little light of mine, I am going to let it shine?
Let it shine.
Found. Are you among the nine that the alarm clock woke you up this morning?
You don't know, call it with you.
Or the one that know that it was God woke you up this morning
God.
and said,
Yes.
thank you
Thank you.
for goodness and new grace.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know, he probably slept a long time and I had to wake him up. But Luke did it. Luke got our point across. Are you the one or are you that nine? So I say, Luke, thank you. Told us what we didn't know. Go ahead, Luke.